Hello, this video is on creating scaffolded handouts on Word document. So let's take a look. So I'll pull up a Word document. I want to recreate this item right here, the scaffolding for multiplication. But this one is for a 3x2 digit. And for Maya's problem, we're only doing 2x1. So I need to get rid of the tens row. So I'm not going to do 5 rows. I'm going to do 4. And I don't need to have the hundreds place. So I'm going to get rid of a column. So it's going to be a 4x4 instead of a 5x5. So I'm going to insert it over here to the left, right here. I'm going to go to insert table, and I'm going to do 4x4. Now notice it kind of shot all the way over here to the right. So if you see my cursor, I'm going to grab that box, click and hold, left click and hold, and then drag it down so that I get a nice box like that. But now the issue is when you type in it, it's in the top left and it's smaller font. I don't want that. So I'm going to go to layout, and I'm going to do this center alignment. And then I'm going to go to home, and I'm going to do a bigger font. Let's do a 20. And so now the problem that we had was 18 times 3. So I'm going to type in, oops, I didn't center it. What happened? I didn't center all of them. So you have to drag and click on all the boxes. And so now center, and then font 20. Got it. Now that's for all of them. And it was 18 times 3. Try that again. And I might even want a bigger font. So I'll click on all this and go home. Let's go 36. That's better. And then I'm going to put times off to the side. Now I want to get this nice dark line over here to show where the line is. So what I'm going to do is there's no one way of doing this. This is the way I remember it. So I'm going to highlight the table, and I'm going to go to table design. And then I'm going to go to border paint. And I always forget exactly how this works. And then you got a little paintbrush, and I'm going to click on, it's not quite working. So I need to go back to table design, and I'm going to do a thicker line and border paint again, table design, border paint. All right. So I clicked it again. Oh, now you can add that nice thick line there. And then I go back to table design and unclick the border paint. And now I'm back to where I was. And now I've got a nice scaffolding here, and you can squeeze it in however you like. And then you can click on it, copy, and then you can paste it below to create multiple tables and play around with that. And so that's how you can create the scaffolding for what we see in the multiplication. Let's look at the equation. Okay, so for the equation one, I want to keep this top, but just to keep things simple for us, I'm just going to do these steps for right now, just to keep it simple and quick and easy for us. So I am going to go back to insert a table. So I'm over here. Oops, got rid of everything. I'm going to insert over here like I did last time. Insert, and notice now I have 3 rows in red, and I'm going to have 2 columns. So for my table, I'm going to have 2 columns, 4. I think I said 3, 4 rows. I got to go find the end of the box, the table, and squeeze it down. I want everything centered. So I go to layout and do the centering again. And I'm going to do a little bit bigger numbers. So maybe I'll highlight it and do a font. I don't want them to be humongo. So let's go maybe 18 font. And so now I want the top to be up here. I want it to be highlighted darker. So I'm going to click and hold, left click and hold here at the top and scroll over and highlight the entire top row. And then I'm going to come over here. You can go to home. And then I'm going to, is it home? Sometimes I have to look around. Layout. Nope, I think it is home. Home. And then, no, you know what? You right click on this. Never mind. You right click on the row that you just highlighted. And then we can do, here we are, the paint. Shade in. And I want to do a darker color because it's the top. And I'm also going to do bold font. And then I'll type in here, that's my example problem. And then you play around with this. And now I'm going to want it to do like I did down here. I want to do that middle column a little different color. So I right click on it and I come here and I'm going to shade it a lighter color. There we go. And I'm going to type in the steps. So let me just type in all these steps as we see them and put you on hold. So now I've typed in the steps that I wanted. I don't like that font being so big, so I'm just going to click and drag and knock that font down to maybe 12. And then I'll even click on, you can see how you get like little parallel lines with arrows here. Once you have that, you can click and hold and drag the table line over so that you have more space here because that's where the students will write. And then maybe I don't need this row to be as thick as wide. So I can just drag this up and then I've maximized my space here. Now, notice that in the scaffolding, I have a nice equal sign right down the middle. I want that to be part of what I actually have in my table. So I need to add a row into there. So in fact, I'm going to have 3 rows, the blue, the red, and the yellow. So I need to go from column to 3 columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace all 3 of the rows for this column. And I'm going to go to layout, and then I'm going to split cells. And then instead of 2 columns, I want 3 columns, and I want to keep the same rows. Hit OK. But the equal sign doesn't take up much space. So I'm going to do that same parallel line thing, click and hold and drag it in. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other line, click and hold and drag it in, and just keep playing around with it until they look kind of like both sides of the equal sign are going to be equal. And then I'll stick my equal signs here. And then I need to highlight this again, shade it again. But notice over here in the original scaffolding that I have is an example, there's no lines here. I want to get rid of these lines. So I'm going to trace all of this and I'm going to come over here to this borders. You can also do that here at home and click over here and the borders is found right here as well. And then I like to go to borders and shading, and that kind of shows you everything. And now I don't want those middle rows, and that's what this is. They're the middle lines. This is the middle vertical line right here. You click on it and watch what happens right here in the middle. It disappears. And now you have these lined up nice and neat, and then they can enter stuff. And if you wanted to do the example problem like I did, you could type in there and it would keep everything on one side, and then you could type on the other side, or you could leave it blank. And that's a nice way of doing some scaffolding. And there's one more I want to show you real quick. So let's say you're teaching them a 2-step equation, and of course they've already seen a 1-step. Here's a neat little trick where you can do a nice analysis where you do before and now. So I'm going to do 2 rows and 2 columns, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to do the same thing I did before, the layout in the center. I'm going to boost the font size. And then I have before, and then I have now. And this is a great way to tie into prior knowledge. I'm going to highlight the before into a darker color. And then I don't need that top row to be so thick. And then I'm going to show them an example, and that's a little big, too much font. So I'm going to drop it down to 18. And so now you could say, look, this is what we did last week, for example. And then this is what we're doing today. And then you could even actually add another row, and I'm going to get rid of all the highlighting here. So I'm going to just do a plain old font. And then I'm going to merge. So I want to pull these together. I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to go up here to layout, and I'm going to merge the cells. And then I'm going to give them directions on what I want them to write. So I'm going to click in this box and go to layout. And I'm going to go top left font or centering. And then I'm going to drop the font down to a smaller number, 10. And then I'm going to say, how are these the same? And then, or you could even say something like, how are these how is the new equation different? How is the new equation different? Now, what it does is it helps them start comparing what they did before with what they're doing now. And then that's a great lead in as far as connecting prior knowledge. And then the idea here is that now you have two numbers you have to get rid of, whereas before you only had one number. And that's a simple thing that you can do at the beginning of lessons to draw upon prior knowledge. And there you go. There's some scaffolding that you can do as an instructional strategy. Now, if I can figure out how to close this, we will be done. There we go. Bye.